Hi everyone, my name is Akurede Adenike. You are welcome to my channel. In this tutorial today, I would like to teach you how to cut and sew this beautiful shirt dress showing on the screen. Let's get into it. As you can see, the shirt dress I'm making today has two parts, the upper part and the ruffle part. So I'm cutting the upper part first. So to know the amount of fabric putting on fold for that, I'm going to use the biggest part of my body to calculate my measurement, which is hip. My hip is 40 inches. I will divide it by 4. That will give me 10 inches. That 10 inches, I'm going to add extra 5 or 6 inches to it because the upper part I'm cutting it in form of A-line dress. So I have here 18 inches on fold. So it will be enough for me. If I add 10 inches to 6 inches, that will give me 16 inches. I'm adding seam allowance to it, which is 1 inch. That will be 17 inches. So I have 18 inches here on fold. So I'm making use of 34 inches for the length of my upper part plus 2 inches extra. You know, as a shirt, you have to add extra 2 inches to the back part to make it lay very well at the end of the day on your neckline. So let's continue. Now let me mark my starting point. So now this is my shoulder line now. So on my shoulder line from the center back, I'm going to mark out my neck width, which is 3 inches. If you are a plus size person, you can make it 3.25 or 3.5. So here is it. On that line too, I'm going to measure out half of my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 15 inches. Divided by 2 will give me 7.5 plus half inch seam allowance, that is 8 inches. Since I'm cutting directly on my fabric. So this is where the 8 inches is. So from there, I'm going to mark down my shoulder slope, which is 1 inch, which is here now. So here is the neckline, neck width. Hope you can see what I'm doing. So since I'm cutting the back first, I'm going to measure out 1 inch for my neck depth, which is here. I'm going to connect it with my free hand just like this. Hope you can see what I'm doing. So this is my neck depth now. So I'm going to connect it to my shoulder slant like this, slantly, just like this. Now to create my armhole line, I'm going to measure out half of my round armhole from this point. My round armhole is 16 inches divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. So I'm adding that 2 inches that I added to the back. I'm adding it to it. That will be 10 inches, which is here now. So from my center back here now, I'm going to measure out half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5 plus half inch seam allowance on that point for me to draw out my armhole line, which is here now. So I'm going to connect to this point, just like this. So now this is my armhole line from the shoulder line to this place. Now to draw out my chest line, I'm going to measure what I have here and here. So what I have there now is 11 inches. I'm going to repeat it here for me to draw out my chest line. So I'm going to connect it straight. Here is my chest line now for my shirt dress that I'm making today. So from my shoulder line, I'm going to measure out my waistline plus that 2 inches that I added to the back part. My waistline is 17 inches plus 2 inches, that will be 19 inches. And from my shoulder line to my hip line, my shoulder line to my hip line is 23 inches plus that 2 inches, that is 25 inches, which is here now. I don't really need my hip line, but I'm just drawing it. So I've extended all the lines for you to see it very well. So on my chest line, I'm going to input quarter of my bust there. My bust is 38 inches divided by 4, give me 9.5 inches, which is here. I'm adding 1 inch for ease to it. That is 10.5. Since I'm making a line dress, if you like, you can make it half inch or 1.5. It depends on how you want it. So this is 10.5 now. I'm adding 1 inch for my seam allowance, which is here. So straight to the bottom of my dress. I'm going to input quarter of my hip. Hope you can see what I'm doing. Quarter of my hip plus that 6 inches extra for the heels that I added to it to form a line that I'm talking about. That is 16 inches because my hip is 40 inches divided by 4 give me 10 inches plus 6 inches extra, that is 16 inches. And I'm adding 1 inch for my seam allowance to it, which is here now. Altogether will be 17 inches. So I'm going to connect from here, from the chest line to the bottom of my dress, just like this. So here is it now. If you want yours to have shape on your waistline, just input quarter of your waist plus 1 inch or half inch or 1.5 inches for your ease to it and connect it. Assuming this is where my quarter of my waist is now, plus that extra 1 inch for ease. I'll just connect it like this. And I'm connecting from my waist down to the bottom of my dress. So at the bottom here, I don't want to leave it sharp like this. I'm going to come up by 2 inches for me to shape it a little bit, to make it curve a little bit. I'm going to use the curve side of my ruler to draw it out just like this. Now to draw my armhole curve for the back part, I'm going to place my ruler like this. The curve side of my ruler, I'm going to place it like this and draw it out just like this. So I'm done connecting. I'll now cut it out for you. Now I'm done cutting my back out, as you can see. So I added ½ inch. That ½ inch I left it for my shoulder joining here, as you can see. So before cutting it, I'm going to fold another fabric for my front part now. Now here is another fabric for my front part, folded into 2, as you can see. So I added 2 inches here for my button overlap. What I will just do is to take my back and fold that 2 inches that I added, that 2 inches extra that I added to it. I'm going to fold it like this before cutting out my front part, because I'm using this back to cut out my front part. I'll just fold that 2 inches here now, just confirming the measurement. So 2 inches, folding it like this. I'm using pin to hold it. Now I'm done folding that 2 inches that I added to the back part. So what I'll just do now is to place it on this line. You know, this one is for button overlap for the front part. I'll just place it like this. My center back will align on that line, just like this, and make sure this shoulder line here, make sure it's aligned on each other. So I'm going to cut it out now for you. I'm done cutting it out. I mean the front part. So here is it now, as you can see. So for me to shape out my neckline for the front part, I'm going to remove the pin on my back part and I'm going to let it align on the shoulder like this for me to shape out my shoulder slope and my neckline. After removing the pin, I'll just place it like this and shape out my shoulder slope just like this. Or better still, you can cut it directly. And here is my neck width. So my neck depth for the front part, I'm going to measure 3 inches plus ½ inch shoulder joining, that is 3.5. So I'm going to connect it with the curve side of my ruler just like this. And I'm going to cut it out. This is my shoulder slope. You know, I've already added ½ inch for shoulder joining on my shoulder line for the back part. So I'm going to cut it out now. So this is my front part now. I will easily open it at the center front here. Now I'll go ahead and reshape my armhole for the front part. So I'll easily rule out my chest line for me to do that. Before I do that. So this is my chest line for the front part. I'm going to find the middle of this point and this point now, which is 4.25, which is here now. So from here, I'm going to measure 0.75 inward, which is the 3/4 of an inch, so which is here now. Then I'm going to connect slantly from my shoulder slope to meet that point, just like this. So I'm using the cuff side of my roller to finish it off, just like this. So now here is my front armhole. I'll go ahead and cut it off. So now this is the interfacing I cut for my button overlap. I have 2 pieces of it here. My front is 2 pieces. The up is 1 inch, as you can see. But the length is it. Make sure you cut the length that can contain the center front here. So before I gum it to my front part, I have 2 inches for my button overlap on the front part here, on my center front, and this is it. This is the 2 inches from the center here for my button overlap. What I'll just do now, and I have 1 inch wideness of interfacing for that. What I'll do now is to measure 1/2 inch from my line here. I'm going to measure it all the way from the up here till the bottom part of it, and I'm measuring another 1/2 inch on this side too. So let me quickly do that, and I'll come and show you how to place your interfacing before you gum it. Now I'm done measuring 1/2 inch on this side and on this side too. So, and I've ruled it out, as you can see. So what I will just do now is to take the interfacing, use the gum side. The gum side. I'm going to place that gum side on the wrong of my fabric like this. On the wrong side of it, I'm going to place it on this line at the middle here. Leave 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here. So that is how I'm going to gum it to hit. I'm doing the same thing on the second part of the front. When I finish doing that, I'll come and show you what's next. Now I'm done gumming my interfacing, as you can see. Here is it. This is the first one and this is the second one. Let me show you the interfacing very well. And I used the medium weight of the interfacing. So here is it. As you can see, the interfacing is in between the line. That 2 inches. As you can see, I left 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here. So I will go ahead and fold this first 1/2 inch. I'm going to fold it in like this and fold my interface exactly on my interfacing, and I'm going to top stitch. Hope you can understand what I mean. Let me explain again, and let me zoom my camera for you to see. So this is the interfacing now. It's in between that 2 inches, as you can see. I said my interfacing is is 1 inch wide. So I'll go ahead now and fold this first 1/2 inch. I'm going to fold it in like this, and I'm going to fold exactly on the interfacing, just like this. So I'm going to leave this 1/2 inch. I'm going to leave it without sewing on it. So what I'll just do now is to fold this first 1/2 inch, which is 0.5, and I'm going to fold like this exactly on that interface, and I'm going to top stitch on both like this. So I'm going to do the same thing on the second part of it. When I finish doing that, and I'm going to make my stitching from the up here till the down part. So when I finish that, I'll come and show you what's next. I would like to explain how I'm going to stitch it again for you guys to understand, all because of the beginners. So this is one of the front parts now, and this is my interfacing in between that 2 inches. I left 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here. So what I'll just do now when I get to my machine, I'm going to fold this first ½ inch like this, all the way from the up here till the down part, and I'm going to fold again ½ inch before that, 2 inches, just like this. I'm not folding on this line, so my folding altogether will be 1.5. Hope you understand. So I'm not folding all that 2 inches for me to stitch my button overlap. I'm going to fold the first 0.5 like this. After doing that, I'm going to fold again 1 inch, so that I'm stitching on both sides. I'm going to top stitch on both sides for me to create my button overlap. Hope you can understand me very well. So my folding altogether will be 1.5 inch. So now I'm done with my button overlap. I've stitched it, as you can see. So here's the first one and here's the second one. I'll go ahead now and place my front on my back part and stitch my shoulder with ½ inch. This is my back part now. I'm going to place it on the table. Open it up like this. Here is the right side of my back part. I'm going to place my front on it. Let the right side of the front face the right side of the back part. Let the shoulder align and stitch the shoulder with ½ inch. I'm doing the same thing on the second part of it. When I finish doing that, I'll come and show you how to stitch the side. Now I'm done joining my 2 shoulders, as you can see. So I'm going to pull my front to meet up with the back at the down part here. You know, my back is 2 inches longer than the front, so I'll have to pull it a little bit to meet up with the back part at the down part. So I'm going to do the same thing here too. I'll let it align on each other at the down part here, and on the armhole too. So I'll go ahead now, after placing it very well on each other, I'll go ahead and stitch my side seam. You know, I added 1 inch for my side seam, so I'm going to stitch my side this place till the down part of it. I'm doing the same thing on the second side. Stitch from here till I reach. Now I'm done stitching my both side seam, as you can see. So what remains now is for me to join my ruffle. And to get the width of my ruffle, I'm going to measure the down part and double or triple it. Depends on how much fabric I have. You can double yours or you triple it. Depends on how much fabric you have and how you want it, how cloudy you want your ruffle to be. And to get the length of my ruffle, I'm going to deduct what I have here for the upper part from the full length of my dress. The full length of my dress is 42 inches. I have 34 inches here for the upper part, so I'm going to deduct that 34 from 42 inches. So if I deduct 34 inches, which is the length of my upper part, from the full length of my dress, which is 42 inches, the remaining one will give me 8 inches. I'm going to add 2 inches to it for my seam allowance, and I have here 10 inches already. I've already cut it out. That 2 inches, I'm going to use ½ inch to join it to the upper part and 1.5 to hem the bottom of it. So this is 10 inches in length now, and I have 46 inches in width, which is one of the fabric that I'm using for my ruffle, and I have 44 pieces of these here now. So I'll go ahead now and join these 4 pieces to become one. That will be for my down part. So let me quickly go and join it. I'll come and show you how to attach it to the upper part. Now I'm done joining that 4 pieces to become one, as you can see. So I'll go ahead now and open up the down part of my dress like this and place it on it. Let the right side of this, the right side face the right side of my dress, just like this. And before joining to it, I'm going to fold here. I'm going to hem here with 1 inch, double fold it and hem. I'm doing the same thing on the second edge here. I'm going to double fold it as well and stitch. So after doing that, I'll now place it on my dress at the bottom of it like this. Let the right side face the right side of the dress just like this, and leave about 1 inch here. After hemming, I'm going to leave about 1 inch ahead here and fold it like this, just to make it neat at the end of the day. I'm going to fold it like this. So I'll start stitching. So while stitching, I'll be pleating it like this. I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch all the way to the second edge. When I reach the second edge as well, I'm going to fold it like this in to finish this place up like this. And this is my belt as well. I have the length of my belt here is 7 inches. So the width of it is, let me measure it all together. The width of it is, I have 38.5 inches here, folded into 2. So I'm going to open it up like this, fold it like this. This is the right side. I'm going to fold it like this, and I'm stitching from here. I'm going to stitch from here with 1/2 inch all the way around till I reach this place, till I reach the second edge here. But I'm going to leave about 2 to 3 inches at the middle here for me to bring it out at the end of the day. Now I'm done with all that I explained. I've joined the bottom part of the upper part, as you can see. Here is the wrong side of it. So I'm going to overlock all the rough edges here, and here is it now. I'll just let me zoom my camera for you guys to see what I'm about to do. So at this edge now, where I started my stitching, I folded 1 inch in before I started stitching and pleating along the way. I'll just open it up like this. It will be like this. So I'll go ahead now and top stitch here now for me to finish it up. I'll do the same thing on the second side of it. Just turn it like this and top stitch on it to make it look like this. Look how neat and beautiful it is. So let's continue. And here is my belt. I've stitched from here, from the first edge here with 1/2 inch all the way to the second edge here with 1/2 inch. But I left about 2 to 3 inches opening at the middle here for me to bring it out to the right side. So I'll go off camera to do that. Here is the sleeve I'm attaching to it. I have flutter sleeve here. I have a video on how to cut it. I'm going to put the link in the box below for you guys to see how to cut it. Make sure you watch it. So I'll go ahead and hem the bottom of my sleeve with 1 inch because I added 1 inch for hemming allowance to it. I'll just double fold it and hem it. After hemming, I'm going to fold it like this. Let the right side face each other just like this and stitch my side seam with 1 inch. I'm doing the same thing on the second sleeve. Here is the collar I'm attaching to the neckline. I have a video on how to cut this one too as well. I'm going to put the link in the box below for you to know how to cut and stitch it. So I'll go ahead and attach my sleeve and my collar to the neckline. When I finish doing that, I'll come and show you how beautiful my shirt will look like. Now I'm done with my sleeves and my collar. As you can see, here is the wrong side of it. Let me turn it to the right side for you guys to see. And here is the right side of it, guys. As you can see, it's very beautiful. So I'll go ahead and fold my polo like this. My shirt collar, I'm going to fold it like this. This is how it's going to be. After doing that, I'll go ahead and attach my button to it. So I'm going to measure from the up here. I'm measuring 4 inches downward for my button. I'll just be dotting it like this. So I'm going to give my button, the interval of 4 inches, so till I reach the down part of it. So 4 inches will be the interval of my button. So this is how I'm going to mark it out before tacking my button to it. And I'm using my hand needle and thread to tack my button. So here is the button I'm using for my shirt. As you can see, for my shirt dress, this is how it's going to be. I'm not tacking any button to the upper part here. If you like, you can attach button to it. It's your preference, but I'm not tacking any button to it. So this is how I'm going to fix my button. As you can see, it will be like this, and my button will be on the left side of my shirt dress. So I'm going to, after tacking my button to it, I'm going to create my buttonhole on the right side of it, on the right side of my shirt dress, by dotting it like I did on the right side, on the left side for my button. I'll just dot it out like this and create buttonhole on that side. So after doing that, I'm going to, and here is my belt as well. I've turned it to the right side, so I'll move ahead and top stitch on the opening that I created for my belt for me to bring it out. I'm going to top stitch on it for me to close it up. So that is all for today, guys. If you find my tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel to support my channel. If you have any question pertaining to cutting and sewing, you can join me on my Facebook group, Details to Sewing, created by Akorede Adenike. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Akorede Adenike. Please show some love by liking and following my page on Facebook at Akorede Adenike Sewing Tutorial. Till I see you in my next video.